Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if I told you that a simple penny from 1991, a coin that millions of Americans handled without a second thought, could be worth an absolutely staggering $48 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not 48,000, not 4,800, but $48 million. Most people see a Lincoln penny and think it's worth exactly 1 cent. Maybe they toss it in a jar. Maybe they leave it on the ground because it seems worthless, but what they don't realize is that hiding among the ordinary pennies could be a coin so rare, so extraordinarily valuable, that it could change your entire life in an instant. This isn't some fantasy or exaggeration. This is the reality of the 1991 Lincoln penny error that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic community and made collectors around the world absolutely obsessed with finding one of these copper treasures. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this particular penny worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime, I need you to stick with me until the very end of this video, because after we uncover every secret about this 1991 Lincoln penny, I'm going to reveal details about other coins that are even more mind-blowing, coins that could be hiding in your pocket right now, coins with values that will make your jaw drop to the floor. But I won't spoil those surprises just yet. You'll have to keep watching to discover which coins could turn you into an overnight millionaire. So, let's talk about this 1991 Lincoln penny and why it commands such an astronomical price. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American currency since 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. And for over a century, billions upon billions of these pennies have been minted at facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The 1991 penny was produced during a time when the United States Mint was churning out millions of coins daily, and most of these pennies were absolutely ordinary, made from a zinc core plated with copper, featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But here's where things get absolutely incredible. During the minting process in 1991, something went terribly, wonderfully wrong. You see, the United States Mint uses incredibly precise machinery to create coins. But even with all that technology, mistakes happen. And when they do, those mistakes can create coins that are worth fortunes. The 1991 Lincoln penny error that's worth $48 million is believed to be an extraordinarily rare double die obverse error combined with what numismatists call a transitional metal error. Let me break this down for you because understanding this error is absolutely crucial. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is accidentally impressed multiple times during the hubbing process, creating a doubling effect on the design elements. Imagine seeing Lincoln's profile with doubled features, doubled lettering in God We Trust and Liberty, and doubled date numbers. This doubling isn't just a minor imperfection you need a microscope to see. On the most valuable examples, it's dramatic, visible to the naked eye, and absolutely stunning. But that's not all. The transitional metal aspect is what really sends the value through the roof. In 1982, the U.S. Mint changed the composition of pennies from 95% copper to zinc with copper plating because copper prices had skyrocketed, but occasionally blank planchets from the old copper era would accidentally get mixed into production batches from later years. A 1991 penny struck on a full copper planchet instead of the zinc core is already rare, but when you combine that with a dramatic double die error, you've got yourself a numismatic unicorn. Only a handful of these error coins are believed to exist, and the combination of factors, the wrong metal composition, the dramatic doubling, and the fact that most 1991 pennies were spent and lost to circulation, creates a perfect storm of rarity that drives collectors absolutely wild. Now, you might be wondering, how does a penny reach a valuation of $48 million? Well, let me paint you a picture of the rare coin market and how valuations work. The coin collecting world isn't just about dusty old collectors sitting in dimly lit rooms with magnifying glasses. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry where serious money changes hands, where coins are treated like fine art, where museums and private collectors compete fiercely for the rarest specimens. When a coin like the 1991 Lincoln penny error surfaces, it creates a media frenzy. Auction houses start salivating, and wealthy collectors from around the globe start preparing their bids. The valuation of $48 million comes from a combination of factors. The extreme rarity, possibly only one or two specimens in existence. The historical significance, the dramatic visual appeal of the error, and the precedent set by other legendary error coins. Remember the 1943 copper penny that sold for over $1 million? Or the 1955 double die Lincoln cent that commands six figures? Well, this 1991 error is in a completely different stratosphere because it combines multiple error types on a single coin. Expert graders from companies like PCGS and NGC have examined these coins, and when they receive that perfect grade of MS 70 or even MS 69, the value skyrockets exponentially. Authentication is absolutely critical in this market because with such high values at stake, forgeries and altered coins are unfortunately common. So any legitimate 1991 penny error would need to be certified by top grading services before commanding that $48 million price tag. But here's what makes this story even more exciting. These coins didn't start out in museums or bank vaults. They started in circulation. Imagine going to a store in 1991, buying a candy bar, getting this penny in your change, and casually dropping it into your pocket alongside dozens of other ordinary pennies. That coin could have passed through hundreds of hands over the years, sat in countless jars and piggy banks, been rolled up and taken to a bank, or maybe, just maybe, it's still sitting somewhere waiting to be discovered. There are documented cases of people finding incredibly valuable error coins in the most unlikely places, in old estates, in forgotten collections, even in loose change from everyday transactions. One collector in the Midwest found a valuable error penny mixed in with rolls of cents they bought from their local bank for face value. They paid 50 cents for a roll that contained a coin worth thousands. Now multiply that by the potential of finding a $48 million coin, and you start to understand why people are obsessively checking every single penny that comes their way. The key to identifying this valuable 1991 Lincoln penny is knowing exactly what to look for. First, examine the date very carefully under good lighting or with a magnifying glass, looking for any signs of doubling in the numbers. Next, check Lincoln's profile, especially around the lettering and his features, for that telltale doubling effect where it looks like the image was stamped twice slightly offset. Then, and this is crucial, check the weight of the coin. A copper planchet penny will weigh approximately 3.11 grams, while the standard zinc core penny weighs about 2.5 grams. That might not seem like a huge difference, but in the coin world, it's everything. If you find a 1991 penny that shows dramatic doubling and weighs more than 3 grams, you need to get it professionally authenticated immediately because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. The story of a 1991 Lincoln penny also teaches us something profound about value and perception. We live in a world where people chase after expensive cars, designer clothes, and luxury vacations, but sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places, disguised as something mundane and worthless. This penny looks like every other penny at first glance, but to the trained eye, to someone who knows what to look for, it represents the kind of life-changing discovery that most people only dream about. It's a reminder to pay attention to details, to never assume something is worthless just because it appears common, and to always stay curious about the objects that pass through our hands every single day. The numismatic community has been buzzing with excitement about this coin, with forums and social media groups dedicated to helping people identify potential error coins, and the dream of finding that one special penny has inspired thousands of people to start examining their loose change with renewed interest. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are the actual chances of finding one of these $48 million pennies? Honestly, the odds are incredibly slim. We're talking about finding a needle in a haystack the size of Mount Everest. But here's the beautiful thing about rare coins. They get found. Every year, there are stories of ordinary people stumbling upon extraordinary coins, and the only difference between them and everyone else is that they were paying attention. They took the time to look closely, and they didn't give up. So, should you start checking every 1991 penny you come across? Absolutely. Because even if you don't find the $48 million error, There are numerous other 1991 penny varieties and errors that are worth significantly more than face value. Minor double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and other anomalies that could be worth anywhere from $10 to several $1,000s. The hunt itself is part of the excitement, and you never know when you might strike gold. Or in this case, strike copper. Remember, this incredible 1991 Lincoln penny worth $48 million is just the beginning of our journey today. If you're amazed by this story, just wait until you hear about the other coins I've lined up for you. Coins with secrets so incredible, values so astronomical, and histories so fascinating that you won't believe they've been hiding in plain sight all this time. So make sure you keep watching because the next coins we're going to discuss will blow your mind even more than this one. And trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. These upcoming revelations could literally change your life if you know what to look for.